Hello everyone, and welcome once again to TV Day's Drama Digest. Today, we're exploring a theory that has viewers on the edge of their seats, one that revolves around a potential familial betrayal of truly stunning proportions. Rumor has it that Rachel Black, the young daughter of Kristen DiMera, may have pulled the trigger that left EJ DiMera seriously wounded or worse. The question, of course, is who will uncover this explosive secret. Could it be none other than Kristen herself? And how would she react upon realizing that her own daughter may have committed such a shocking act? Buckle up, because we're about to unravel every twist and turn in this tense scenario. The biggest clue pointing to a highly personal shooter is EJ's response just seconds before the gunshot. According to inside sources, right before the weapon fired, EJ exclaimed, "What are you doing?" rather than the more suspicious, "Who are you?" or "What are you doing here?" That subtle but telling difference has ignited a wave of speculation. It suggests that EJ recognized the person standing before him, but was stunned by their behavior or intentions, enough so that he let his guard down in the final moments. Given that Rachel Black is his niece and already inside the DiMera mansion, she would be the perfect candidate for someone he wouldn't initially perceive as a threat. Moreover, the DiMera mansion, though palatial and heavily guarded, is still very much a home for its family members. There's every chance that Rachel could slip in and out of rooms or hallways undetected. She might even have easier access to personal belongings and hidden spaces, like the location of Kristen's weapon, than an outsider ever could. If she's the culprit, the shock factor only intensifies because who would suspect a child capable of violence in the DiMera household? Before we jump to conclusions, let's backtrack. Why on earth would little Rachel be motivated to hurt, much less try to kill, her uncle EJ? The key, it seems, lies in the disappearance of Rachel's grandmother, also named Rachel, whom Kristen believes EJ had a hand in whisking away from Salem. Rumor has it that EJ and Kristen had a heated argument just prior to the shooting, during which Kristen demanded answers about her mother's whereabouts. EJ, who's often embroiled in complicated plots and power moves, may have hidden or orchestrated the elder Rachel's sudden vanishing act, fueling Kristen's fury. But what if their furious encounter didn't just end in threats and accusations? What if the younger Rachel was quietly lurking nearby, listening from behind a door or crouched on the grand staircase, hearing her mother's pleas for EJ to return, Grandma Rachel? A child, especially one who has seen multiple chaotic situations in the DiMera household, might be overwhelmed with protective instincts toward her mother and confusion about what's really happening. Mix in the DiMera penchant for secrecy, and you have a recipe for a child's misguided notion of justice. A young mind twisted by DiMera drama. We must remember that children in Salem often witness far more drama than they should. Rachel has grown up surrounded by the seemingly never-ending feuds, schemes, and betrayals that define life in the DiMera orbit. With Kristen as her mother, a woman known for her own ruthless streak, Rachel may have absorbed conflicting lessons on loyalty, retaliation, and how to deal with enemies. If Rachel indeed overheard a gut-wrenching confrontation in which Kristen begged or demanded that EJ bring her mother back, the little girl might have concluded that EJ was the root cause of Grandma Rachel's disappearance. In a child's mind, that could translate to a reason to punish Uncle EJ. Considering Kristen's past with guns, sedation tactics, and elaborate deceptions, it's not far-fetched that a curious child could stumble upon or even know exactly where to find her mother's gun. Rumors swirling around Salem suggest that Kristen DiMera keeps a firearm hidden away, presumably to protect herself from potential threats or to execute her own brand of DiMera justice. If Rachel managed to get her hands on that weapon, the next step in this dark chain of events becomes horrifyingly plausible. Witnesses reported hearing a single gunshot. EJ was found shortly thereafter, with minimal defensive injuries and an expression of shock on his face, a testament to the fact that he never saw the danger coming from someone so close. This scenario casts Kristen in a particularly tragic light. For all her faults, Kristen is fiercely protective of those she loves, especially her daughter. Realizing that her own child might have used her weapon and potentially committed a homicide, or, at the very least, a serious attempt, would be enough to shatter even Kristen's stoic exterior. The bombshell question remains: if Kristen discovers that Rachel pulled the trigger, how will she respond? Historically, Kristen has skirted the line between protective mother and manipulative mastermind. Yet, even her greatest manipulations typically stem from a place of obsessive love for her family. In this scenario, we might witness a range of dramatic possibilities. Immediate cover-up: Kristen could decide that protecting Rachel at all costs is her only option, especially if EJ's condition is dire. She might attempt to tamper with evidence, remove the gun from the scene, or even set up an unsuspecting scapegoat to take the fall. Dilemma over guilt: even Kristen, who is no stranger to ethically dubious decisions, might struggle with guilt and heartbreak upon discovering her daughter has done something so horrific. We could witness a deeply human side of her as she wrestles with whether to shield Rachel from the law or allow her to face consequences to understand the gravity of her actions. Conflict with the DiMera clan: if the rest of the DiMera family learns of Rachel's involvement, Kristen might find herself in a standoff with EJ's allies, like Tony, Chad, or even Stefan. They could demand justice, placing Kristen in the precarious position of defending her daughter against her own siblings. Impact on Rachel's future: depending on EJ's fate, Rachel could face legal repercussions or, at the very least, intense psychological trauma. Will Kristen enlist top attorneys, psychiatrists, or even blackmail the police department to ensure Rachel remains free? If EJ survives, would he seek retribution against his young niece, or would he keep the secret under wraps for the sake of family unity? With so many moving parts, the drama is poised to reach a fever pitch. Salem residents know all too well that no secret remains buried forever. If Kristen chooses to hide Rachel's involvement, she'll face the burden of protecting her child from the consequences of attempted murder or murder if EJ doesn't survive. Meanwhile, the guilt might tear at Kristen, particularly if she realizes that her own influence and hatred of EJ planted the seeds in Rachel's mind. One of the most compelling outcomes could be the moment of reveal: a tearful confession from Rachel, a slip-up in Kristen's carefully constructed cover-up, or perhaps EJ awakening and identifying his shooter. Any of these scenarios would send shockwaves through Salem, causing repercussions that ripple through the DiMera family, the police force, and the social circles that have long come to expect outlandish twists from the DiMeras. Ultimately, whether or not Rachel truly is the one who fired that shot, the speculation alone is enough to spark intense debate among fans. Has Days of Our Lives taken its signature brand of drama one step too far, or is this the thrilling kind of twist that keeps viewers glued to their screens? Either way, all eyes are on Kristen DiMera now. If she does uncover this dark secret about her daughter, we can only imagine the lengths she'll go to ensure that Rachel remains safe and free. So what do you think? Is little Rachel Black the mystery shooter, acting out of a twisted sense of justice or confusion? Will Kristen's maternal instincts lead her to a full-scale cover-up that puts the entire DiMera family at risk? Or will the truth explode in a spectacular fashion, forcing the DiMeras to reckon with a betrayal from one of their youngest members? Only time, and the next gripping episode, will tell. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.